Hello, everyone. This is Shah, and we are live. And today we are going to talk about two things. One is the US inflation report, which is called the CPI report. And the second thing that we are going to talk about is the SEC versus XRP case, because there is an update on Hinman's emails. I'm going to discuss that. So these are the two things that I want to discuss because it's happening on 13th of June and 14th of June. So it's really important update as what to expect in which direction now the market will head based on the CPI report that is getting released. Also, what to expect from XRP's case, because we saw that even though the overall market was struggling in these past few days, but XRP continued to move up. So I want to discuss that if it's going to go up from here or is going to go and crash. So let's dive in and let's talk about the US inflation forecast, which is called the CPI report. They always do that on monthly basis. In crypto space, it didn't used to affect the market overall that much. If we talk about like 3 years or 4 years ago, like if I talk about 2017, people didn't even care about CPI reports. But these days, it's becoming more and more critical, and people are looking at it. So it's very important for you to understand in which direction the CPI report is going, because that is going to affect your portfolio of crypto. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about the inflation forecast as what to expect. And this is strictly related to United States, and as it affects the United States, it affects the whole world. So the Federal Reserve, which is called the Cleveland Federal Reserve as well, expect the prices of goods and services to increase by around 0.19%. So what that means in simple language is that if you bought something in May, in the start of May for $10,000, towards the end of May, you should expect that to cost you around $10,000 and 19. So you have a $19 increase on a value of $10,000. In terms of percentages, it's 0.19%, even though it doesn't look like something big, but it's happening on monthly basis. So the overall compounding effect of it is very drastic. But that is for the goods and services. But there's another type of inflation is called core inflation, and the increase in that inflation is expected to be around 0.45% compared to 0.19% what we saw with the other one. This is way more, and as this is core, it's really something that affects in a very, very bad manner. For those who don't understand how bad inflation can affect overall and what does it mean. Uh, for example, if you look at 1950 house, you would be able to buy a home, a two-bedroom house in US for around $30,000. If you look back and search it on Google, you'll find it. But now, if you want to buy the same home, it's 73 years later, that would cost you around $1.2 million. So something that was costing you $30,000 is now costing you $1 million. That's all because of the inflation, and it's all of this CPI stuff that is happening. So in order to control this, because the government needs to take action, it's not just you and me who is looking at it. Others need to look at it as well, right? So what the government does is that they take action. So and that's Federal Reserve who needs to take action for it. So what the Federal Reserve does is that they increase the interest rate. Interest rate is basically the cost of borrowing. If you increase the interest rate, as a result, what happens is that it affects your inflation, and your inflation overall reduces. Uh, how it works, I will not get into the technicality of it, but for your sake, you can easily understand it this way, that if the inflation is increasing, you need to increase the interest rate for the inflation to reduce. So whenever you see mortgage prices, interest prices of mortgage increasing, it's just because of the fact that overall inflation in the country or globally, if it's US, it's pretty much global, is increasing. That's why they're increasing the interest rate to cope with it. So even though um, increasing interest rate is not a good idea, because it's like they call it two-edged sword, um, or dagger. from one end, you are trying to control the inflation, which is your food, your rent, and all other stuff that you're paying for, right? From the other end, it's affecting your cost of borrowing, which is leasing. Like we want to buy a car or iPhone, or now these days Apple has introduced these new goggles that cost $3,500, and it's not affordable for everyone to buy in one go, right? So what you would do is that you would try to buy it on interest, which means you will be making monthly payments. So that cost of borrowing is increasing. So yes, now it is cheap to buy apples and groceries and you can eat food, but from the other angle, what has happened is that your cost of borrowing has increased. So the government needs to create a balance. So what they do is that they hike up the price of interest to control the inflation. Once the inflation is controlled, what they do is that they also try to reduce back the interest rate. So there's a middle ground that they try to find. But it's all, not always very easy for them to do. But this is something that they are trying to do. And this is what the meeting is all about on 13th of June and 14th of June. And when they announce these things, it dramatically affects the stock market, the crypto market, and everything that has to do with investment. So this is something that we have seen over and over again, that when people who are investing, they look at the news. That's the first attempt on the price. And after the news, when Powell, who is basically disclosing this information, when he goes live and he's talking, and then there are people asking questions, I've literally seen the price either go down dramatically or go up dramatically, the way he responds to the questions. Like, if I have to give you an example, I think it was around March. I was I was trying to do a live trade with it. It was, I think, Bitcoin that I wanted to trade. So I was listening to him, and he was answering the questions. And this lady asked him a question, and it turned out to be a tougher question that he was not able to respond well to it. And what happened is that in that instant, I realized that Bitcoin is going to start falling. So I shorted it, which means I said it's going to go down, and it actually started falling down. And I used big amount of money just for the sake of fun. I'm not suggesting this to do this. It's a pure form of gambling, but I was just trying to have fun. So I think I used $20,000 or $26,000 on that trade, and it fell down, and I was like $8,000 in profit. But it's so fast, and I was looking at it, and of course the greed kicks in. I didn't sell it for $8,000 profit, and it started coming back, and then I ended up selling it for $4,000 profit instead of eight. But it was like within minutes, and it was just because of the way he was responding to the questions. And people realized that big whales, big players, they realized that, okay, this thing is not going to go in good direction. And from his questioning and his answers, the way he was responding to the questions, people could guess that, okay, the month of March is bad, but the month of April is going to be bad as well, or the month of May is going to be bad as well. So that is something that was suggested there in between what he was saying. And yeah, so that's why you need to understand these things. I'm trying to explain them in the most simplest manner. I'm not trying to geek out on you or get all um, not financial, but just trying to say all financial on you. I don't want it to be finance centric or very centric from the perspective of economy. I just want you to understand what to do with your portfolio, whether you're in stock or crypto, when the CPI news is coming out. So that's one thing that they have hinted, that they are going to increase the interest rate. When Federal Reserve hints that they're going to increase the interest rate, that is a bad news overall for crypto, and for the stock market. That means that there is going to be a bit downward crash. So one big thing that plays a big role in this overall market is the housing. If you look at the 2008 and 2009 crisis of United States, a major player in that was the housing. And right now we are going through a time period where we are seeing that the housing is really becoming expensive. I live in Toronto since 2022, June 2022. And what I've seen here, even I live in this one bedroom apartment. I'm renting it for around $1,800, and just in 1 year, this rent has gone up by $200. So now, if you want to rent this apartment, it's going to cost you $2,000, which is crazy. And the overall percentage of increase that the government has suggested, has declared in US, it's 8%. So in US, the rent is increasing, the housing prices are increasing by 8% per annum every year, which is a lot. And that is why the inflation overall is kind of getting out of hand. So to give you the overall, before I move to Ripple, to give you the overall gist of it, what I'm expecting is that, and what everyone is already expecting of it, is that they are going to increase the interest rate a bit with the percentages that I have mentioned. That's the increase that is expected in the inflation. And if they want to control the inflation, I told you they have to increase the interest rate. And if the interest rate is increasing, it means that there's going to be a bit downturn in the stock market and crypto markets overall. That being said, this is something that big players always anticipate in advance. If I know, of course, they know it as well. They have their own financial analysts and other people sitting there analyzing things for them. So what happens is that they always play accordingly. So if the market should crash by 5%, you should have seen that crash already. Unless they announce something that was not expected, then the market would see a bigger crash. So for example, if we were expecting increase in interest by 1% and it goes to 2% instead of 1, then that is something that no one was expecting, and then it can have a bad impact. But if everyone was expecting 1% increase in the interest rate already, then you should understand that the market has already adjusted for it in advance. Because the way the market operates is that when the news is due, like in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, what they do is that big players, they start adjusting the market according to what they expect already. So they don't want to sit and wait for Powell to come and announce, and then they say, "Oh, 1% increase," and then they adjust the market. They do that in advance. So that's why when the news is as what people were expecting, generally the big players have already done what they are supposed to do, and the retail investors, which are the small players like you and us, well, you and me, what they do is that they say, okay, it's a bad thing, and then they start selling, and then the market continues to go down as it's supposed to do. But the big players are already out, so they don't care that much. So switching gears to XRP, which is another big agenda, because I think it's called Jinmen's emails. So the emails are out, which is one of the main reasons that these days we were seeing a price increase in XRP, even though the overall market was bleeding. And I had in my premium group, I had shorted XRP, which means that I was expecting XRP to go down, but XRP was holding the ground very strongly, and it is not going down easily. The reason for that is this rumor in the market. So the way all markets operate, we have a saying, they say, buy the rumor and sell the news, which means that if there is a rumor that XRP is going to win the case, I'm just making an example, then before that news comes out, just because of the rumor, everyone all those people who are big players, they will start buying XRP in advance. And as they are buying, the price starts going up, and all those who are retail investors, the smaller investors, they panic, and it's called FOMO, fear of missing out. They start buying too. And that's why the price continues to go up, and it continues to increase. And when the news comes out, that's when the big players start selling. So based on that philosophy, if the XRP situation turns out to be the way the rumor was, I'm personally expecting good amount of sell-off. So, I mean, we will see. It's everything is happening on 13th and 14th of June. These are extremely critical dates because of the CPI news, Powell speech, and inflation and interest rates, and as well as the XRP case. And of course, in the other video, you guys saw me covering the case between SEC and BNB. that is a hot topic too. And all these 2 days news are going to affect the overall markets, not just crypto, but the stock as well. So those who don't know what Ripple is a company and XRP is their cryptocurrency that they have created. So some people call it Ripple, some people call it XRP, but it's that's the difference. Ripple is the company and XRP is their cryptocurrency. So the problem that they had is that 2 years ago, SEC said that XRP is a security, and that's how the overall case started. And Ripple said that it should not be considered as a security, and they started fighting it on the basis of US law. And they said that it's not just XRP, it's the overall cryptocurrency world that is going to get affected. And they allocated, I think, around $250 million for this case, which in case of BNB, they allocated $1 billion for the case. And they want to go big against SEC because SEC is causing a lot of problems in these past few years. So on June 13th, Ripple news is going to go public based on those emails and evidences. And the expectation is that it will be declared as not a security. If that is the case scenario, that is a bullish news for XRP, and everyone expect XRP to go up. But like I said, by the rumor, sell the news, XRP is already up. So I'm not expecting so much from XRP as it to skyrocket too much. But the possibility of it is that it might do a hike, as a spike to upward, and then it will start selling downwards. And all that also depends on the fact that if they actually release it. Sometimes what happens is that they say that, okay, they are releasing it and it doesn't happen. Like with the XRP versus SEC case, we have seen this news, I think at least 3-4 times where they said, okay, the case is over, XRP has won, and then XRP starts pumping up and it doesn't happen. For you, there is an indication how to identify if XRP is actually going to go up. So XRP price needs to go above 60 cents and it needs to stay there for 6 hours. And if it stays above 60 cents for 6 hours, you should expect XRP to go to 90 cents, which is a big move. And it's a very, very big thing for XRP because it's a multi-billion-dollar project. And then you should expect that XRP is only going to go up from there. And the overall ceiling of XRP will break two, which is around $2. And then all those who are XRP maximalists, like Bitcoin maximalists, they should expect to see XRP at $10 too, because then the overall case of XRP versus SEC would be gone, and XRP would start showing some extremely bullish moves. Then that should be your Pepe situation where it's pumping and pumping and it's not coming into control. So that's for your XRP. Yeah, the one last thing about overall SEC situation, because they are causing a lot of problem. So there is a news going around, and it is kind of official news because I did cross-check it on multiple news platforms. They said that they're planning on firing or removing the head of SEC because it has been said by the government bodies that he is doing more damage to the overall economy of the United States than doing good to the economy, and his decisions are only leading towards bad stuff. So they don't want people to be hurt because of this one person that is very radical and drastic in his decisions. And if that happens, that's going to be another bullish news for overall crypto, because then, and I'm sure he has not just taken up the fights with crypto. I think his fights are up against so many other things, but as I'm only following him for the crypto purposes, I have seen it to be a very, very strict move they always take, and always hurts the market whenever they go against some project, whether it is XRP, whether it is, what do you call it, XRP or BNB. Recently, like we saw, it fell from $313 to $220. Just like that, it crumbled down. It was really drastic because the floor of BNB, which it held for multiple years since it moved up, it never came back to $212. That's basically the very solid ground that it stands on. So it came down all the way to 220, almost close to 212, which is the solid ground for BNB to stand on. What happened is that it all happened because of the lawsuit. So if he's fired, that's going to be a very good news overall. So let's get to the question. Can you repeat how should we manage our funds before CPI report? Yeah. So in order to manage your funds, the easy way to do is not to trade during the CPI report, because the CPI report, even though based on what I've shared, is just my personal analysis. Don't treat it as financial analysis. I don't want to be sued. But keeping in mind that there's so many people out there who would be sharing the analysis, but it's all analysis. It's all assumptions. How the market actually reacts, it can be totally different. So it's always suggested not to trade positions for stock and crypto when the CPI news is in action. And if you look at the overall volume on exchanges, whether it is Binance, it's reduced by 55%. If you look at OKEx, Bitfinex, and all those exchanges out there, including the big one in United States is called, they trade stocks and crypto both on it. Robinhood, yeah, Robinhood. I think Robinhood overall volume decreased from $8 billion to $2.3 billion or something. So it reduced dramatically. So the overall trading volume has reduced, and not just because of this CPI news, but I have seen it over and over again that whenever there's a CPI news coming out, the market kind of stalls, it holds on to one particular price and it doesn't move much. It kind of sits down there. And when the news come out, then it starts making the pumps and dumps. And it's always radical. One time I saw that Bitcoin price pumped by $2,000, and then in like next half an hour it dropped by $2,000 or $3,000, which is a very, very dangerous thing, considering whether you have longed it or shorted it, it's going to liquidate you both ways. So we have another question from Dr. Adil again. I hope XRP wins the lawsuit and pumps to $10, as you said. Maybe we will have an ignition for the bull run. Yeah, XRP was the only one that didn't do so well, even in the previous bull run when Bitcoin went to $65,000, $69,000. The problem was always this SEC case, and XRP has not seen $2 in previous, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. I think the last it saw it was around 2017 when it reached $1.9 or $2. And after that, even the previous bull run, I think it couldn't make it to $1.7, or it stayed below. I don't remember exactly how far it went, but I think I did see it at $1.3 in 2021. So it was always stuck because of this case. Once this case is settled, it's going to unleash the beast. And there's so many people out there who support XRP, because XRP is not your usual cryptocurrency. It's a CDC. It was created to create a centralized crypto for all the banks around the world. China also supports XRP a lot. So there are huge giants behind XRP, and once XRP case is over, it means that billions of dollars will flow into XRP, and it has kind of what do you call it, a north and south kind of situation when it comes to XRP. All people who love crypto, they don't like XRP. They say that it's not the same thing. They say that XRP is anti-crypto. So that's why it has its own community. Like those who love Bitcoin, they don't generally like XRP. So that kind of situation. So if the case is settled, the XRP maximalists who believe that XRP can go to $10, and some people are crazy with the figures as well. They can say really different figures for it as well. They can it can all turn out to be true, because people will start investing in it, and when something is pumping, the fear of missing out is always very strong. Anyway, thank you so much everyone for joining and listening, and I really appreciate you guys joining. I have started one thing that I didn't mention in the start of the video, so I will do that from the next video. I apologize, Dr. Adil, for this time. uh, so I will mention that in the next video in the start, so people keep it. All those who ask questions, even if it's like just one person, like in case of Dr. Adil, and I like the question, that person wins the $10. If there are like 5, 10 questions, and then I will pick one winner, I'll select that. Okay, this was the best question, I think. And if it's just one question, just by one person, then that's pretty much that person is the winner. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and I hope to see you next time. And if you still have any questions, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to respond to it. Take care and have a great evening if you are in US or Canada. If you are in Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, those countries, then good morning to you guys. Take care. Bye.